It's nice to see you again in this video. In case you are new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe, turn on that notifications icon so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'll be uploading. For my returning viewers, thanks for the support and I won't disappoint you. So now today I'm going to be continuing with our SQL injection, and this is the lab that I'm going to be working on. This is SQL injection union attack, retrieving multiple values in a single column. I'm going to just right click and send this to another tab. Now, in case you didn't watch my previous videos of union attack in SQL injection, this might be a little bit harder for you, but I'm going to try my best to explain everything so that at least you can be onto the same page. Now, coming to this tab that we've opened here, you see that they say that this lab is a SQL union attack, retrieving multiple values in a single column, and they tell us that this lab contains a SQL vulnerability in the product category filter. The results from the query are returned in the application's response so that you can use the union attack to retrieve data from other tables. The database contains a different table called users with columns called username and password. Take note of this. To solve this lab, we are to perform a SQL union attack to retrieve all username and password and use the information that will be returned to log in as an administrator user. So coming back to this lab, if we need to access the lab, I'm going to just right click to this and send this to another tab. We see that here we even have a hint. We shall come back to that. So coming to our lab, this is what we have, and when you try to see here, we have the all, we have the clothing. Perhaps I can choose anything. So I'm going to click to my lifestyle. Let's see the information that is returned back. So far, this is what we see here, and when you try to see up here in our URL, you see that we have the category equals lifestyle. So this is where they told us that we do have our vulnerability. Let's go on and test and see whether it is vulnerable. So I'm going to just put a single quote and try to submit. Let me just remove this. I'm going to submit this. When you try to see here, we have a internal server error. This is because the single quote that we provided just went on and provided an empty space, leaving some data that is coming before our SQL statement. That is where we pressed in a single quote. So I'm going to go on and perhaps remove this, and let's say if we are to test our union based attack to proceed on to solving this lab, we need to find a couple of things. We need to know the columns, how many columns are being called in the first SQL statement if we are to use the union attack, and we need to also understand the data type, because if the data types do match, we shall be able to call out any information that we want. So here, to understand the columns that are being called from another SQL statement, we are going to just put a single quote, and we can just go with order by. So I'm going to just say order by, then we can put a number, then put a dash dash to comment out whatever will be coming after this single quote. So if I submit this, we see that this is what we receive, and we only have this. I only see one column. So I don't know whether this has been arranged because we are on our lifestyle, but when you try to see here, we start with a G, T, E, and B. So let's go on and change the number that we provided with our order by. If we use our order by, they need to sort our information in ascending order. So this time we are going to just say order by 2. So if we submit that, you will see that now our information has been ordered in ascending order. This time we are starting with our bug protection. So far right now, we know that 2 columns are being called from our database. So let me go on and add on a third one. Let's see if we have a third one that is being called from our database, and we are going to say order by 3. So if we submit that, you see that we receive an internal server error. So this is where now you can understand that only 2 columns are being called out from our database, because the first and the second, they were able to execute with our status code of 200. Now, here we understand how many columns that were called from our first SQL statement. This is where we can go on and test whether these ones are using a string as the data type. So the way we can do that, this is where we can go on and use our union select, and this is where we can start testing. Now, you know that if you're using SQL and you need to test the strings, you should put your values in quotes. I'm going to first start with a letter A, comma, and for a second column, I'm going to just say null. Then I'm going to comment out whatever will come next. So I'm going to highlight this before I submit, copy, and I'm going to press enter. So if we submit that, you see that we receive an internal server error, which means that there is a possibility that the first column in our first SQL statement isn't using strings. Then I can go on and test it further. Perhaps if we want to know whether it is numeric, we can just change the letter A that I provided there to any number. Now perhaps I'm going to put my single quote, paste that again. Now let me just test with a number just to confirm. I'm going to just put 256. But for the numbers, you don't need to put them in quotes because that's how SQL works. So if I submit this, let's see if our information will be returned back and this was executed. Now, when I try to see here, we have it one listed as okay, though our information should have been displayed here. So we know that the first one now it has numerics. Let's go on and test the second column. Now, if we remove this, let's go on and put the single quote. I'm going to paste my union select. Now for the first one, since it is numeric, I'm going to put it to null, comma. For the second one, I'm going to provide my number. So this is where I'm going to provide the letter. Perhaps let's just provide the name to my YouTube channel, which is Greenit. So if I submit that, and if in case it is successful, we shall see Greenit printed down here. When I try to see our information, Greenit has been printed. This one, it is showing us that the column that is being displayed here, it uses strings. So now we know the number of columns that are being called out from the database, and we know the second column, it has strings as the data type. So this is where we can proceed to dumping out our username and the password from our users table, since they gave us a glimpse of the tables that are present on our database. But for you to proceed to dumping out this information, you need to understand which kind of database are you playing around with, because commands or functions that you might use in your SQL may change in a bit depending on the database that you're using. So this is where we can come here to our int, and I'm going to click on SQL injection cheat sheet. So we are going to see what appears here, and we can go on and test on different databases. Since we are going to display two columns in just a single column, this is the username and password in just a single column. This is where we can proceed with string concatenation. Now, when you try to see here with Oracle, this is how you can do it. Microsoft, this is how you can do it. PostgreSQL and MySQL. I already know MySQL is called concat, and there is also this. Now we can go on and test which kind of database that we are using. Now I'm going to scroll down just a little bit to see if we may see the database version. So this is how we can go on and test the version of the MySQL. So if it is Oracle, either we can run this. If it is MySQL, we can run this. So since MySQL is commonly used, perhaps let me try firstly on this. I can go on and run others. So I'm going to just go on and copy this, come back to my application. At the end, I'm going to remove that back to our lifestyle. Now here, I'm going to just provide a single quote. Since we are using the union-based attack, I'm going to say union and paste the command that I copied the other side for MySQL, which is select add the version. So remember to put a comment at the end. So we are going to press enter. Do you see that right away we receive a internal server error, whereby this may not be the database that is being used? So we can go on and proceed to another database. So let me go on and copy this one for PostgreSQL, then proceed back to my application. Here, after our live, I'm going to remove this, but remember you can use Burp Suite to do this, though for me I'm writing them in my browser directly. So I can put a comma, then we proceed with our union, then paste this, and I'm going to terminate or comment out at the end. So if I press enter, I see we have another internal server error. So let me go back. Perhaps I might be reading something in a bad way. So let's see database content, errors, and others. So let's just come back here. But I think these are the ways we can do it. I can go on and test on others. I see my SQL and this, it is similar. Just now to test on this. So I'm going to just go on and copy that, or let me try another way. If we come here to our lifestyle, I'm going to remove that, put our single quote, and I'm going to just say our union select, paste that, and I'm not going to terminate. Let me first see what will happen, and let me go on and first copy this so that I don't need to do them again. So once again, I receive an error. The reason now when I'm playing on this, perhaps I might be working on something that may be different. So I'm going to paste that again. Here we have our union select and the version. So with our code union select, and let me go on and comment out all of this. So copy this again, submit. Again, we don't have access. So let me go on and copy this so that we can use that in our browser. So I'm going to come here, copy all of this. I'm going to first paste this, come back this side. I'm going to copy this, which is select banner from the version. Let's come here, and this is where we are going to paste the command that I copied the other side. So providing that, I'm going to go on and submit. Let's see, we also have an internal server error. I don't know what I'm missing here, so let me first go on and check and see. Now, after relaxing and doing some little bit of research, depending to what I was doing, this is where I messed up. Now, when I'm submitting one of my commands here, it has to be our code. Then we provide our union select. Now for our versions, let's come back to this side. I'm going to do this again, whereby I'm going to first copy this and come back here. So if we come here, since we are having two columns, so where I messed up, I was just calling out one column in the second query. So this is where we are going to provide a now to the first one, put a comma. I'm going to go on and run the version. So when I provide the at version, at the end, we need to go on and comment out what will come next. So if I submit that, let's see, we have an internal server error with this. Now this is where I can go on and test with another command. So this is just version in brackets. I'm going to just come back here and rewrite that command. So here's going to just be our union. Then we say select. We are going to say null, comma, slash version. So if I press enter, voila, you see that we have our 200. Okay. And if we scroll down, they are telling us that this is PostgreSQL and this is the database that the application is using. Now, after understanding the version of the database, this is where we can go back to our cheat sheet and understand how can we add our two columns together. So this is how we can use this in our PostgreSQL or in this format. So how can we call out our username and password in a single column. So this is how we are going to be using it. Coming back here, I'm going to come to my lifestyle here, and let's remove this. So let's go on and write up a command. So this is going to be our union. Then we are going to write our select. Again, since we are calling out two columns, the first one is going to be null. We are going to provide a comma, and this is where we can use our pipes if we are to go for the pipes, or to provide with the spaces. So here I'm going to just go on and copy this just to save time, and come back this side, and I'm going to paste it there. Now where we have full, I'm going to replace it with my username. It's going to be my username, and the password is going to be on the bar. So let me just move this side, and where we have the bar, this is where I'm going to write my password. Again, remember to comment out that will come next after this command. So if I submit this, let's see if we shall have our username. So this is the command that I added on, which is our quote union select null. This is for a first column, comma. Then this is how we can concatenate our strings from our PostgreSQL. So coming down, this is what has been displayed. But if you remember, we had a table called users. So this is where we can go on and add on our users. So I'm going to just copy that. We have to provide from which table. So if I remove that, I'm going to paste the one that I have here. Before I comment, I'm going to say from our users table, then comment out that. So if I press enter, I guess this time we are going to see our passwords. So we don't have our password. This is username, password from users. Still I'm not returning back my username and password. Perhaps let me just go on and try to remove the quotes on this command. I'm going to just again highlight it, come back here after our live. I'm going to remove all of those, paste my command again. The table should be users. Then at this time, let me just go on and remove the quotes and see how this will be. I just copied directly from the original site, but let's first try this and see whether it will be working. So again, submit that. Let's look down. This is the command. Voila, we have our username and password. So it means when you're working with our PostgreSQL and you are going to concatenate our strings, I was adding on quotes with this. That's where I was receiving the username and password instead of receiving the credentials from our database. Simply now these will be like variables. So that's where I messed up, and we've solved that. So we have our administrator and also the password. I'm going to just go on and copy this, come back to my Obsidian. This is what I've been using in the previous lessons. Paste that, and I'm going to copy my administrator. Let's try to log into this account and see if the lab will be solved, because that's what they told us in the documentation. So I'm going to paste my administrator. Let's go on and also copy our password. We need to come back here, paste that, try to log in, and our lab has been solved. So I had a challenge with this lab. I guess I wasn't stable, but we managed to work on it. So in case you want to see more videos like these, please feel free to subscribe, turn on that notifications icon, and feel free to share to friends that may be interested. Have a great day. Peace.